There's a Chilean version of Sleeping Beauty, and like most Sleeping Beauty stories, it is messed up, but this one at least has consent. At least. In this story, Sleeping Beauty is not a princess, just the daughter of a very rich man. She's 15, she's helping her mother comb some wool, she pricks her finger, she turns pale, and she died. But upon her death, her father orders several acres are cleared in the forest, that a giant mansion is built, and that she's put in there with provisions for a year and, just left in the bed like she's asleep. Super healthy coping mechanism, but it works out because, she's not really dead. A year later, there's a king who's out hunting with his hunting party. They come upon this house. They want to get inside. They can't because it's locked super tight, probably to keep weirdos out. They kick in the door with their boots, and then they find the sleeping girl. So the king immediately goes up to her, sees that her finger is swollen, and then pulls out a splinter. And then immediately, she wakes up. He and his men get all the food out that the place has been stored with, and they cook a great meal and they celebrate. And after the feasting, the king took the maiden to bed. Which, she was awake. That's better than the Italian version, Sun, Moon, and Talia. But she is 15, well, technically 16, because she's been asleep for a year and he's a king, the power dynamics are The king stays in that house with his servants and the girl for a year, and in that time she has a baby boy and then a little girl. Not sure how she does both of those things in 1 year, but she does. The king gives her this dress with little bells all over it, and he's like, wear this if you ever need me. I'll hear the bells even if I'm like miles away and come help you. Because he's leaving her, because he's already married. This is also the case in Sun, Moon, and Talia and many other Sleeping Beauty stories. When he gets home after this year absence, his wife suspects he's got another woman. Eventually, the king has to go off to war, and the queen notices this little servant boy taking food into the woods because, he's keeping his woman out there, he has to feed her. The queen finds out all the truth from the servant boy, and then she says, go tell that girl that the older son needs to come and start his education at the palace. The king wants him. And so she sends him. Then the queen gives the child to the cook and says, I want you to cook this kid, and I want my husband to eat it when he comes home from war tonight. But the cook doesn't want to do that, so he gives the kid to a shepherd and cooks a lamb instead. And when the husband is eating, the queen's like, you're eating your flesh and blood. And the king's like, what? And she's like, oh, nothing. It's just something I felt like saying. This happens again with the second child, and then she brings the Sleeping Beauty girl home. The queen pulls out a knife, says, you're the hussy my man's cheating on me with, and starts to try and cut off her head. But the girl's wearing the bell dress, she runs away shaking, the king hears it from miles off, comes home, rescues her, and runs his wife through with his sword on the spot. Because now he has a legitimate reason to kill her and be with his side piece. They call for a priest, the two of them get married, and live happily ever after. For a way less problematic version of a fairy tale, check out my book, Dust Spells. Links in the bio.